That's Morgan Stanley?
Yep.
That's a threat. What's up, Carl Medina? Not much. I'm doing a contest right now. 3 people have called into the show. Free Talk Live. Two more callers. The 5th caller wins gold.
3 people from this.
Yes, from 3. You got 3 people that from this live stream have called in. About I don't know 6 or 7 people have actually called into the show, but the 5th person from my channel, a subscriber, to call in will win gold. I will send you gold. Real gold. Just got to call in. The numbers in the title. 603-283-6160. We got a couple more minutes before we're back on the air. So call in. See, there's one person waiting on the lines. And this is a national syndicated radio show. So you're on hundreds of radio channels across the country. So best to don't swear. And dozens. We used to be on hundreds.
170 over a week. They're not all on at the same time.
Well, it used to be the #1 podcast in the world. That's what it used to be, right?
It was just voted number 1.
Oh, voted #1 podcast in the world. I still like to say it. It's fun. Yeah, JC News Now. You called in. You called in the first person to call. I don't know if you called in twice, but we're not counting that. So only 3 people have called in, but 4 calls have been from my channel, but 1 was a repeat. So 3. All right, we're going back on, guys.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join the show here. You can bring up what you want. The number to do that is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Ian, Jay, and Joa here in the studio tonight. We're going to get back into your phone calls and thoughts. And then on the way, the difficulty of finding young people who are willing to work. We can come back around to that topic because it's actually in the news about how people that are hiring others are looking into the elderly to get their new hires because it's hard as hell to find somebody who's under the age of 35, apparently. We'll figure out more about that coming up here. But Ricky is on the line. Ricky, you wanted to comment on something that was said on a previous show with Mark Edge, who, by the way, is going to be coming back into town. Apparently, he's coming back tonight. He's going to be here for, like, I don't know, a week and a half or something like that. So we're going to get a lot more Mark on the air for a short bit.
All right.
But, Ricky, what was the comment that you wanted to reflect on? Okay. Mm-hmm. And who is that? Is that the Arizona Republican lady? Oh, South Carolina. Okay. Well, actually, I don't believe he's filed. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did he say that? Okay, I couldn't remember for sure. Okay. What?
What?
What? Just to run in Pennsylvania or just
That's
in general?
insane.
I don't believe it because I don't believe that that Vermin Supreme, who runs every single presidential election here in New Hampshire, he changes his party. He's run as a Republican, he's run as a Democrat, he's run as a Libertarian. But I don't believe Vermin Supreme has $100,000 that he can spend. I mean, he's got some support. There's no doubt about it. But okay, but when do you have to pay the $100,000 to the feds?
Do you file with them or something?
So wait, are you saying that you can run for president in New Hampshire, but the feds aren't going to require you to pay the $100,000 if you do that? So you're saying at some point, if you keep running for president, you have to pay them $100,000? Okay. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that were true, but I was just going to say I don't think everybody pays that. It's certainly not early on in New Hampshire. I mean, that's the nice thing about New Hampshire is it's the first in the nation primary. It's $1,000 to get on the ballot, so pretty much anybody can afford.
It's kind of like your best chance if you want to run for a top position like these. Yeah, New Hampshire is the place to be to try to get that.
Right, that's where you get that initial exposure that you hope can get you a win in New Hampshire, which could potentially, propel you to wins in other states.
Especially if you have name recognition. So if you've already been in office here, then all the people that are voting for you already know you, and it seems like you have a better chance of
and
running.
This is why the Democrats want to cut off New Hampshire because
the free state's taking over.
Well, I don't know if that was a factor, but they want to cut off New Hampshire because they don't want their candidates to easily be able to run. They want it to just be Joe Biden. They want no opposition to him. And they want to have their primary in a quote-unquote demographically diverse place like South Carolina instead of New Hampshire. Anyway, Ricky, what else? I have never heard of these things. I don't. Are you talking about you have to have 1 million signatures, like cumulatively over the various different states that require you to have signatures? Okay. I don't know if I trust you as a election expert on these matters, Ricky. Usually, you don't need signatures to get on a ballot in most states where you are a part of the major party. So, like, for instance, here in New Hampshire, you can get on a ballot by using signatures if you're a Republican or a Democrat. So I know, Jay Noon, you've run for state rep.
Yep.
You were running as a Republican in that case.
Yep.
So you probably just went down to town hall, paid $2, and got on the ballot, right?
Yep.
You had an option to collect 150 signatures in lieu of paying the $2. So there was an option to get on the ballot with signatures, but it's not a requirement when you are you're a major party person. And of course, 150 signatures is a huge amount of time you would have to sink in. What is your comment about Mark Edge, Ricky? I don't want to hear statistics. Defending DeSantis, you mean? Mark was talking about how he supports DeSantis, but for listeners that don't,
he did.
Yeah, he's sadly. Yes,
sorry, Mark.
Really sad.
Sure.
So you'd write in Joe Biden in the Republican primary? Oh, I thought we were talking about Republican primary.
Hey, I'm a nihilist too.
All right. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Ricky,
not a bad
for
idea.
the call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you here. The number is 603-283-6160. I mean, the only reason to vote for somebody like Joe Biden is if you want to, make things worse quickly.
Well,
right?
I mean, that's a strategy. Like we could, encourage the collapse sooner by voting for Joe
As
Biden.
long as you don't mind blood on your hands.
Yeah, I guess
He's
that's
the most
yeah.
visibly corrupt president probably in my lifetime.
Sure.
When I say visibly corrupt, I mean hands down with the Ukrainian money laundering, with
Sniffing little girls.
the fact
running
that,
cameras.
Sniffing little girls.
His daughter Ashley Biden reports in her diary that he's a pedophile. And like one thing I've been saying is, I hear the word racism being thrown around a bunch, and they're like, oh, I have a hat that says "Make taxation theft again," and a couple weeks ago I was wearing it, and some girls like, "Are you a racist?" And I go, "Why?" Because your hat. And she goes, "Oh, I thought it said 'Make America Great Again.'" She says to me. She didn't even read the hat.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
red hat.
Right. It's a hat I got from
It
Luke.
looks similar to the
And a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, keeping the faith." I'm like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" "Oh, I didn't actually read your hat. They think it's a MAGA hat." So I said,
Did you point out to him that this is the opposite of racism?
Right. So what I said
yeah.
is, I said, calling somebody a racist because they might support MAGA or Trump is basically, then you might as well just call anyone who's going to support Biden a pedophile. So, and I love that Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and basically said that the Democrats are pedophiles, and I really agree with her because, well, it's the parasite class Democrats, the ones that are in government, the ones that are in politics. Not the sweet old lady who's working working a second or third job at the diner. That happens to be a Democrat. They're like very much turned off by all this nonsense. But yeah, this they even had it right in little town of Ware, New Hampshire. They had an inclusivity meeting at the Ware Middle School last week from this New Hampshire State College, University of New Hampshire, Durham people who are just running around to all of the schools in New Hampshire speaking on diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And I didn't have a chance to go to the meeting because I have work to do. But this is all like just a magnification of every kid gets a trophy for showing up to the T-ball game with this inclusivity stuff, because you're just included in everything by default instead of having to earn your way into society and having to make yourself actually of value.
But are you though? I mean, the guy who, I think you referenced it on the air, there was this guy in Canada who was at some sort of trans event, some kind of protest, and he was a counter protester. He had a sandwich board signs on him, and he was attacked apparently. And it from the video footage, it looks like they started it, not him.
Oh yeah.
And he was attacked, and one of the points I think he or one of his friends made was they're not being very inclusive, are they?
No, it's only inclusive to their particular narrative and their cult. Is what's going on here. The cult of the irresponsible people.
Well, I want to get back into that, but let's go to David. He's on the line in Georgia. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, David. Yes. CBDC is the central bank digital currency. That is something that a lot of people are predicting is going to come to the United States. It has not yet been officially announced, but it's something they're experimenting with, and they're having a lot of meetings about.
Legislations all over the world to try to get it passed.
Oh yeah, and in some places it already is. Nigeria has one. China's, I think, coming soon, or they already have theirs. And the Bahamas, I believe, is working on one. I'm not sure wherever the other ones are, but those are a few of them that are in the works and or already in existence. And what do you think about that, David? Is she, who's she pandering to there? Do Republicans care about this? Mm-hmm. Ooh.
She says a lot of Marjorie Taylor Greene says a lot of stuff that's pretty darn good. Now she does, if you look into her, she's definitely has
She's also an ultra conservative, and she's in no
compromised a
way a
bit.
libertarian at all.
And she's got a big construction company, I'm sure, that does a lot of government work, because that's the only way construction companies get big is they do government work. And but she's also someone who's actually worked for a living too. She's someone that was in the construction business that got into,
Right.
She's a contractor. Her father's a contractor. She understands contracts, and this is how a lot of people do come to the ideas of liberty is they usually get there because they're a contractor and they're studying contracts, and it's like, how does the state get to make me a slave? Did I sign a contract with them? Where it sort of starts with a lot of these guys. So but she's definitely got some good stuff. She's definitely one of the least worst politicians as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and I don't like to give a whole lot of credit to DeSantis, but whenever there's credit to be given to a politician, I will give it to him. And in the case of DeSantis, he did say, this was about a week or 2 weeks ago, that he's backing a bill that is going to prohibit somehow, I don't know how they're going to do this, the use of a federally adopted CBDC as money within the Florida Uniform Commercial Code. Now, what that actually means for, whether or not the CBDC thing would in some way actually not be useful or used in Florida, I don't know. I don't know how much of this is just simply posturing or if it is actually a meaningful bill. So he does get a bonus point for that one.
I wonder, like money exchange places where you go and if you're coming from a foreign country, what if that country uses the CBDC and you come to Florida and I guess they ban the exchange process, so they're essentially isolating themselves a little bit further from the world. I'm not saying CBDC is a good idea.
Well, I don't think he would be able to prohibit other people in other countries from using their own CBDCs.
But when they come to Florida, they have no way to exchange it.
Yeah,
What there'll be an exemption from the law in the airport? Is that the deal?
Maybe because it's federal property or something. I don't know.
Oh,
well, it probably the state won't be using CBDC. The state won't be banking in CBDC. I also know that some states, I believe DeSantis has removed a whole bunch of all the state, bunch of the pensions and the financial instruments that are involved in ESG compliant or these banks that are all about their ESG score versus profits. There was something I had heard about that a few states have done this, and I believe Florida is one of them. But the thing is it's probably just a directive that the state won't be able to use.
Well, it says the Florida Uniform Commercial Code, which is supposed to be the set of rules that all commerce is done by. So corporations, for instance, would be affected by this in theory.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't read the bill. I don't know what it actually does.
Yeah, and a corporation is the. No, they wouldn't do that.
well,
Well, yeah, and that does, it does beg the question of what would transpire if this became a showdown between the state of Florida and the federal government. What would actually, what sort of weaponry would come out?
well, I can see things like Social Security. So when the federal government pays out Social Security, it's going to be paying out on CBDC.
You better believe it will, yeah.
And then and they're not going to have a choice. What are they going to do? Fight it? You doubt it. But then also you got the post office. That's federal. So we got to use CBDC to buy stamps. It's going to get really muddy really quick if they implement this federally.
You're going to have to use CBDC to buy your prepackaged, Monsanto certified,
government cheese,
government gruel, and all your stuff and maybe your Walmarts and stuff. But what this is really going to hurt is the people who haven't been practicing alternative currencies. And who this is really going to benefit is local producers, people like farmers. It's going to people who want to do things. And the other thing is the black market, kind of like Russia was right before it collapsed. The reason the Russian people didn't really all die off in masses, because they have been for years under communism. You had to participate very actively in the alternative economy or the black market economy in order just to get enough calories to survive. And that's what Russian culture was. To where here in America, there's a lot of people who have no idea how to get anything if their card doesn't work. They are basically screwed. You know, if they can't swipe their card, they're not getting groceries because they haven't practiced. So the people who are holding, you know, gold, silver, actual real cryptocurrencies, which not all so-called digital coins are cryptocurrencies as far as I'm concerned, but you know, those people are going to be pretty prepared, and I believe the black market is going to flourish. I can tell you, beef is just selling out everywhere. All the like farmers I deal with and stuff, they're like, hey, you know, you guys got any extra beef? Because we kind of like work with some other guys helping each other out. And it's like, nah, we everybody sold out of everything, and
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Buying toilet paper in the dark net.
David, anything else you want to share tonight? I bet you could. Thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it. I did pull up a story here from Yahoo Finance about the proposal by Ron DeSantis, and it's got some of the tweets that he made about this. So I'll just read a couple of these because, again, credit to him on this one. He's at the very least positioning himself to be against the CBDC, and for the right reasons. He says the movement to establish a central bank digital currency is an attempt to surveil and control the finances of Americans. It would violate privacy, limit consumer choice, and undermine market competitiveness. Which, in case somebody believes that he gives a damn about that, all you have to do is look at his actions where he's trying to steal the sovereignty away from Walt Disney, which has had for 60 years its own property in Florida that it has taken complete care of.
Well, Walt Disney's just a legal fiction. That's a creature that was created by the state. It's just a corporation.
Sure.
It's not like a man, you know,
yeah, no, I get
owns
that.
it, but
I get
it gets
that.
a lot of benefits from the state.
Disney has obviously passed away at this point, but you know, typically people incorporate in order to run a business, and Disney had a deal with the state of Florida that they have this particular area, this land mass that they are responsible for. They had to put in you know, the sewage. They had to put it, you know, take care of the firemen or whatever, right? Like they had to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, they didn't have to pay the same taxes
Right.
that others did because they handled the governance of that area.
They did
And
it so
DeSantis-
well.
Yeah, and DeSantis tried to strip that away from them. So, you know, when he talks about how he's concerned with undermining market competitiveness and limiting choice, he obviously doesn't really care about that. So you can't trust this guy as far as you can throw him. We all know that he absolutely cracked down when it came to COVID in the beginning for months, and then he changed his tune later on, and then decided that it was actually going to benefit him politically to go.
And it has.
And it has. And so he's still playing that tune here. He's figured out who his base is, and he's playing to that base. And he's figured out that his base is skeptical, apparently, of CBDCs. I suspect, though, that if Ron DeSantis runs for president and gets elected, that he will embrace the CBDC. And then he will change his tune, and then he will be in total favor of government,
Yeah.
you know, knowing what you do.
And if he's like, so I like with Ron DeSantis and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, you know, there's a lot of like theory out there that I can follow, but it's theory that they understand that there is like a pedophile elite controlling everything. They basically have most of the Democrats and a whole bunch of the Republicans in their pocket. You know, there's like a deep state cabal. There's a whole bunch of people who basically who want to sexually traumatize young kids so they grow up to be incompetent. They want, you know, basically to limit the population. They're all about, you know,
Disarmament.
disarming people, the environmental, social credit score stuff, all of the just all the woke garbage, all the like, you know, pushing all this just, you know, whatever trans drag sex shows for children. You know, like we talked about Soros, you know, funding these woke DAs. So these guys, you know, there's a theory that these guys are actually fighting back against that battle, which it certainly does look like that from a lot of views and aspects. And, you know, I certainly don't think, like, for example, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, you know, Matt Gaetz, and DeSantis. I don't think those guys are pedophiles. I think those guys, you know, are probably very much against that stuff. And there is a like, and even Florida. Another thing is, I forget what county is right next to not Florida, but Disney. There's you know what county Disney's on?
Disney runs through 2 counties. I believe it is Orange County, which is where Orlando is, and then maybe Osceola County. I'm not sure what the
So
next
I
one
believe
is.
it's Orange County. Every now and then I see these YouTube videos of this sheriff. I think his name's Judd, but I'm not sure. But he's like, well, we arrested a bunch of pedophiles here, and well, don't you know this guy works for Disney? How about that? And you know, he's another one works for Disney. How about
There are
that?
thousands of people that work for Disney.
Yeah, there's
but
lots of people.
obviously,
but,
those
yeah.
types of people are attracted to jobs in which they're dealing with children, which is why so many cops turn out to be
Yep.
like that as well.
Yep. FBI agents, cops,
Yeah.
police chiefs.
But I mean, these are all still, whether or not they're pedophiles, they're still all arch status. They're still all people that want to tell you how to live your life.
Yep.
And you know, when this Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about national divorce, we of course brought that up, and you know, she deserves some credit for doing that. But when she was talking about it, she wasn't talking about actual secession. She was talking about some bizarre setup where the red states and the blue states would quote unquote separate, but there would still be a federal government. She still wanted a federal military. She still wanted a federal border patrol. She still wanted all the, you know, the police state stuff that she's all about as a, you know, arch statist that she is. And DeSantis, of course, loves the police state.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
You're not welcome to my money.
Yeah, there's more coming up here. Hour number 3 is on the way. This is Free Talk Live.
Hey, chat. There's 5 of you in there. If two of you call into the number right there, you could win some gold. Already 3 people have called in. I need 2 more people to call in. You can say whatever you want. Talk about auditors or whatever things that you want to talk about. Just please don't talk about sports. But yeah, guys, see, there's the phone line. This is what we're going to be calling into, and you'll be on the air with Ian and Jay, and we're here in the Free Talk Live studios, the same studios that was raided by the feds. Smashed that window, sent in a drone. Yep, they really did that, guys. And arrested my friend Ian and nobody, and Aria, and well, scared our friend Matt. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Satoshi, you did it a little too early, but thank you for contributing to the 5 callers that potentially will have called in. But we just need 2 more people. Two more people to call in. And if you call in, you have to wait a minute. We're on break right now, but we'll be on for like 25 minutes. Well, no, we'll be on in like 8 minutes, and we'll have 25 minutes, then take another short break, another 25 minutes. So, guys, want to call in? Please do. You can listen to the show while you're waiting too. You can't hear from this camera the people calling in. Yep, smoke them if you got them, guys. Look, here you go. Listen to the radio show.
From Feature Story News in Washington, D.C., I'm Benji Haya. Almost 2 years on.
He's just using the speaker in there.
American troops from Afghanistan, the White House has released a post-mortem of what went wrong.
But guys, Free Talk Live is what you guys should be calling into every night, and talking about corrupt cops, corrupt government officials, bootlickers, Karens, Darrens, fascists, whoever you want to talk about. Antifa, Proud Boys. I don't really like them, but you can talk about them. But 2 more callers, guys. 3 have called in. 2 more. The 5th person who calls will win gold. Don't you want some gold? Just need 2 more callers. There's 7 of you watching. 7 people.
7.
Yeah, total 7. It's a record number. Actually, I think the most I ever had in here was like 600 people. But that was because things were happening. Aw. Come on, Jack off Jack. Delta. What do you want to call in? Truth Seeker, come on, call in. Cammed up caveman, come on. Satoshi did. Satoshi called in. And JC did. Anyways. Yeah, you did try. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. You guys should make it more regular. I shouldn't have to bribe you guys with gold to call in. You should just call in. If you're the 5th caller and you don't want the gold, you can pay it forward to the 6th caller. There's an incentive to call in. I wish I had some of the gold with me. Sats? You want sats instead, Satoshi? You want those sats? I don't have any sats. What's up, AAP Variety Channel? Hey, doing a giveaway, AAP, just like you. A little different. You got to call into the number below, and you got to be the 5th caller. 3 people have called in, looking for number 4 and number 5. I know everyone's holding up because they're waiting for that 4th caller. Well, someone's got to make the sacrifice. Let's go. Oh, jack off! A ton of Southerners call in and have wicked accents. Don't worry about it. Do it. Do it. I just got the New England accent. Satoshi James, you've earned this. There you go. Don't abuse it. I won't ask it, AP. Just funny, this guy, AAP Variety Channel, he does giveaways, silver giveaways, and he did the silver card once. So I was like, oh, my boss made that.
Who's this?
AAP.
Did he work for Dave?
No, he just does silver giveaways, and people
okay.
donate to his channel to give it away. But he had the silver card. But he sold the rights to that to AppMex, I think it was.
Talking about Dave?
Yeah.
Pyromet.
Pyromet.
All right, we got 2 calls here. Free Talk Live, what's your name? Jack, you watching online? You watching to a certain YouTube channel?
Yeah, he is.
All right, what channel is that? What's that? Just gotta tell me what channel you're watching, man. All right, very good. What's your topic? All right, great. Stand by. The other caller dropped. So this will be number 4.
All right, guys, we got number 4 caller. So the next caller wins. Next caller wins. Thank you, Jack, for that sacrifice. Watch that. It's gonna light up now. Like it's gonna like a bunch of people gonna call in right now.
Santana Edwin Mary Santana.
I don't know who that is. All right,
Gonna
guys,
have to
we're gonna
wait.
be on.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can join the show here if you want. We're kicking off the third hour. The phones are open. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Here in the studio with you tonight, it's Ian.
Jay.
And Joa.
We're going to go to more of your calls and thoughts. We get the chance. We'll talk about how business owners are apparently more likely to hire older folks these days instead of younger ones. And also the continuing attack against cryptocurrency, specifically the world of decentralized finance, is going to likely be targeted now by the U.S. federal government because the Treasury Department says DeFi is a threat to national security.
Good.
So, yeah, well, we can talk about that on the way here. But let's go first to Jack calling us from somewhere I didn't write down. Jack, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. I don't know if you're listening.
You've
to
got to
someone
turn the
else.
radio
Is that
down.
You talking, Jack, in the background? Oh, that's us. Okay, yeah, you gotta. So, tip number one: if you're gonna call broadcast radio, you always have to listen on the phones. Otherwise, it'll be really confusing when the show picks up the line. So, we're gonna try Jack one more time here. Jack, are you with us? Jack, you got to turn down. If you turn it down. Yeah, you got to turn that down, otherwise it'll be really hard to. We're just like we can't continue if you don't turn it down, basically. So, we got you.
Perfect.
All right, thank you, sir. What's on your mind tonight? Why vote? Tell me. Oh, you're asking us. Do you guys want to? When you guys?
Yeah, I got
jump
an
in?
answer.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, voting in a federal election is probably sort of useless.
Yeah.
But here in New Hampshire, where we have 400 state representatives, 35 state senators.
24.
Oh, 24. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Thank you. And, it's your state representative, for example, the 400 of them for a 1.3 million population, your vote actually might count. And your state representative is pretty much available to you. Most of them just have their cell phone number, when you click on their link, and they're pretty easy to talk to and, run into and hold accountable, here in New Hampshire. So I do believe that voting locally, so like, for example,
Absolutely.
you're most likely to get attacked by your local town government, not really the federal government. Most people in America are going to have problems with code enforcement, busybodies, neighbors complaining, things like that. So whoever, like in your local town especially, and if you live in a city, I'd say get the hell out of the cities. They're going to melt down, and they're full of straight up algorithmic slaves and zombies. Local and regional elections in New Hampshire are good because there's a ton of libertarians in New Hampshire also,
Yes.
mostly running as Republicans. Now, if you're like in Massachusetts, there's like so few state representatives that your vote almost doesn't really count. I don't even think it does. Like where I grew up, and because
And they're all terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you actually have somebody worth voting for, as we frequently do here in New Hampshire, thanks to the Free State Project,
Yes.
actually putting real liberty-minded people on the ballot. Sometimes they run as Republicans, sometimes as Democrats, sometimes as Libertarians. It is actually, then in that case, you in many cases are voting for someone you actually know, someone that you know is an principled, freedom-loving person. But in a lot of cases, Jack, yeah, it's probably not worth voting.
You better believe it too, because like, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, there's scum.
This is a planned strategy. Have you not? It's a plan.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're gonna give you a turd sandwich or a big douche. What do you want? The turd sandwich or the douche? I mean, They don't give you many choices. I don't want either one of those.
Yeah,
and there's always another option out there. Always.
Well, there is, but I mean, you can vote for a libertarian, but they're usually milk toast these days. They're not really principled. They're not really even worth lifting a finger for to volunteer for or anything like that. Yeah, until you move to New Hampshire. Yeah, screw those people. I agree with you. The federal gang is full of evil, and the only kind of people who are attracted to it are the people who are easily corrupted or are already corrupt. They're already evil. They're looking for power. Those are the people that run at the federal level, and that's why the only solution to the federal government is to say goodbye.
Yeah, see you later.
And peacefully secede from the United States. Where are you calling from tonight, Jack? Huh? Oh, no. You must not.
Yes.
Well, yeah, actually. I mean, obviously, with the kind of people on this show, we're not really that interested in having any government, but the state government, at least, is a little more accessible than the federal government. And the New Hampshire Constitution is actually a darn good, all things considered, it's a pretty good Constitution.
If New Hampshire operated basically exclusive.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no, that was a terrible amendment, no doubt.
Do you know why alcohol was made illegal? Do you know why alcohol was made illegal? Well, the temperance movement was funded by a guy named John D. Rockefeller, who owned U.S. Standard Oil, because at the time, pretty much all of rural America, all the farmers were stilling corn. They were stilling, weeds just growing in a ditch. They were harvesting weeds and grasses, and they were and they're running their stills, and they were making fuel alcohol. They were running, their mills, running their Model T Ford cars, their tractors. They were using it for heating lamps, like a lot of the big cities. California, Chicago, for example, stilled 2,000 bushels of corn per week to light all the lamps in Chicago, and then all that corn, the distiller's grain left over, was all sold off as feed. The city actually sort of made a little bit of a profit back then doing this alcohol thing for lamp fuel, and then they converted. It was, yep, exactly. So the oil monopoly had gotten so powerful, they were. James Corbett, who's an excellent reporter. He does it's James Corbett in The World After Oil, or The World on Oil. It's like a 2-hour long presentation all about basically the oil empire and how oil sort of captivated the government. But they got rid of alcohol, so you couldn't make your own alcohol. That was the thing. And the IRS was created to enforce this alcohol stuff as a temporary measure. And also what they did is they destroyed millions upon millions of stills. They destroyed the whole alcohol infrastructure that was sort of decentralized back in the day, because basically anybody who had a patch of land could take whatever's on the land. You can make anything organic and turn into alcohol. And
That's
also, oil should not be called.
Ridiculous.
Wow. That's an interesting history, Jay. I had actually not heard that about alcohol prohibition, but it's completely believable considering that's exactly what they did with cannabis, where it was the newspaper magnate who wanted to ban hemp, essentially, and so they did this, dirty, underhanded attack, and they acted like this was the devil's weed and all this propaganda.
Yeah, we don't.
Nothing changed, right?
Yeah,
like nothing's changed.
We don't really have a government. The East India Tea Corporation has just morphed into all these other corporations, and there really isn't a government. Even if you look at just any town or city charter, they don't even call themselves a government. They call themselves a governmental, a municipal corporation is what they call themselves. But that is a governmental agency. And we got to remember the suffix "al" on an end of a word means similar to or like, and that's all. They're operating at like similar to a government, but they're not. And it's also called color of law, which is very clear. Color of law also means, well, it's similar to law, but upon further examination, it's not really law.
Jack, anything else you want to share tonight?
Jack,
thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Let's continue here. Caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's your name? Jeff or Jed? I couldn't make out what you said there. Jeff. All right.
Hey, Jeff.
What's on your mind tonight, Jeff? Okay. Saw Joa, you mean? I'm talking to you, Joa.
Probably. Yeah. What she assaulted me, right? Right? Is what you're trying to say? What'd he say?
He said you're out filming young girls.
No, actually, I was filming the police. I didn't even remember what she was wearing. That's weird that you did, though, right?
This is at like, what, 11 o'clock at night? What time was this?
This was like
12?
2?
In the morning or in the
Like
afternoon?
1 a.m.
Yeah,
1 a.m.
I suspect there weren't very many little girls on the streets of
Nope.
Manchester at past midnight.
She was drinking. She was drunk. She was clearly an adult.
So everybody looks little to you, right? Everybody looks young. Here's your winner, Joa. I think you won the gold, man.
Yeah, you can win it.
All right, we'll put you on hold here unless you have anything else. Yeah. Do you have anything else to share tonight, caller? No, he just wanted the gold. Huh? Yeah, that's all right. All right, well, hang on.
Actually, you've been disqualified.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I'm going to disqualify that one.
Really? Why?
Yeah, no.
Because they were hostile?
Yeah, like I try to ban people that are on my channel that are insulting or try to lie, lies.
All right. So,
I don't.
So you
I
have
don't.
to agree. You have to be friendly.
Yeah, it's my channel. It's my channel. I can do whatever I want.
And
I'm
it's
a
your goal.
dictator of my own channel. It's like walking into my private business and I don't like it. Get the hell out.
All right, so I shouldn't hold on to this person then. That's what you're saying.
No, get rid of him.
Goodbye, guy.
Smell you later.
Yeah. I saw the footage. You were completely within your right.
And who approached who? Did this little girl approach me,
The
or
fat girl.
did I approach her?
You were walking away from her and she
Yeah.
came at you.
That's right.
She hit you from behind, it looked like to me.
Yeah.
I think you turned around right as she was getting in your face.
Actually, I didn't
right?
turn around at all. I actually turned my camera around.
Oh, that okay. All right.
Yep.
What did she do to you? Did she jab you in the ribs, or what happened?
She like punched my camera and me. So like sort of like at
So
the
she
same
did-
time with two hands.
Oh, like a shove almost.
Yeah, like a like,
Did you get charged with anything or arrested or anything? Like that?
No, they were trying to charge me for saying bootlicker.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, because
Good luck with that.
that's offensive apparently. And that's
And she was mad at you for what?
filming the police.
Oh.
She approached me. You know.
It's so frustrating.
so
People like
people
that.
are getting violent over you filming the police side. Several years ago, there was a 13-year-old boy who wouldn't like take his hat off or stand up for a national anthem at some, I don't know, some
Nice.
county fair or something.
Sounds like me.
Hero.
And the guy right next to him like punched this kid like a grown man.
Wow,
like,
that's crazy.
hit this kid hard or like speed. This was like 7-8 years ago. This happened, but and this is happening everywhere. This is why I'm gonna say, Joe, stay the hell out of that city. You should boycott that city.
Those people
Well,
are everywhere, man.
But
They're everywhere.
yeah, they're really concentrated in the cities, and I believe that we have
Cop lovers are all over the place, man. I had this happen years ago.
Oh, yeah, cop
before Cop Block, there was Cop Watch. I think they still exist.
Yeah, a lot of people represent that.
But that was the thing back in the day, 'cause it was the only thing. And so we were doing Cop Watch back in Keene, way back. And just like you're talking about, some drunk a-holes are on the streets getting mad at us because we were recording the police. And even though those same cops would have arrested these guys in a heartbeat for whatever trumped up charge, they wanted to turn their anger towards us for recording the police. And in that particular situation, the police actually did their job. And it actually ended up making them look good because the cops stepped in, intervened with these goons, and then they managed to stop them from whatever they were intending to do.
Yeah.
And so they actually ended up looking good in that footage. And ever since then, my viewpoint has been like, look, if you don't want us to record the police harassing you, then we'll just go somewhere else. So if there's ever the
Right,
cops,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm there filming the cops because when they do things to you, I want to have it recorded and make sure that they're doing their job properly and not going to hurt you.
Have you
And
had people ask you that are being victimized by the police not to film?
happens
Have
all
you
the
had
time.
that?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, people get triggered when I'm filming like traffic stops and
Do you keep filming?
oh yeah, I don't stop
See, I'll
filming.
walk away.
Well, see, it depends. It depends.
I was like, hey, my viewpoint is if you want to get abused,
yeah.
whatever.
But what
If
if
you
the
love
motorist?
the cops that much, if you love your abuser that much, just walk away.
Yeah, so I pulled out and started videotaping somebody in Colorado years ago. I mean, a couple of guys. It was in Denver, and we're all recording, and the guy's like, "Please, the cops are going to be really tough on me if you're here doing this," and we ended up just walking away because he was like so terrified that we were basically going to record.
Thought it was going to make it worse.
That he was going to face further reprimands.
That's shameful. You know, I feel like I've saved a lot of people
I think
with
you
the
have.
camera.
I think you
Yeah,
have.
I think a lot of tickets weren't written, or just a warning, whatever.
I think we all have. I mean, I think that that's just generally what happens. If you get out there in the streets and you record the police harassing people, you're going to have an effect on that. And I think overall it's going to be a positive effect. But some people can't see it. Some people, they love their abuser, right? Like even though they're getting harmed by these police, they want it to happen because they want to punish themselves. Oh, I did bad. I got caught. I remember seeing this when I was in jail the first time for civil disobedience. There were guys in there who had never harmed anybody else. They were in there for like selling weed or coke or something like that, a completely voluntary act. But they were actually of the belief that they deserved what was happening to them. They actually had that belief system, and nothing I was going to say
They're
was
like,
going to
yeah,
be able to
man,
change
I got caught. Now I got to do my time.
Yeah. And then there was, there's also the kind of the viewpoint of, oh my God, I don't want my mom to see me getting arrested. So sometimes people don't want to be recorded for that reason. True. They're just embarrassed.
I mean,
about the whole thing.
I've had somebody contact me and be like, hey, can you remove the video of me? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like you were out on the streets at,
I think you're well within your
same
rights.
Elm Street.
Yeah, I think you're within your rights for doing that. It's just that that's not how I'll do it these days. Just because I'll respect somebody's request. Like, hey, if you feel like you don't want me there, fine. I'll go find someone who appreciates me. And I remember, I don't know if it was the same night. I think it might have been the same night that the goons were threatening us on the streets. We changed our approach. We just started asking people like, hey, do you want us to record this? Just we would see somebody. I just walk up to them while they're in their car. Like the moment the cop walks away from the window, right? Like I got a chance to talk to them. Hey, is it okay if I stay in here and just record this? And some people said no, but at the end of the night, we came up to a black guy in New Hampshire, right? If you're black in New Hampshire, it's not as an easier time for you when you're dealing with the police in a lot of cases. And when we asked him if it was all right, he was like, yes, please stay here. And he really appreciated it and was like, this was worth it, to find the right person who actually appreciated what we were doing.
Yeah.
Screw the rest of those people. Let them get their criminal charges and let them have to deal with it.
Hey, if they want to cop suck, I call it.
Yeah.
You're going to get it. You're going to get it. You deserve it. Actually, thank you for your service for funding the police with your, bootlicking behavior. I mean, look, if you got the thin blue line sticker on your car, you're basically guaranteed revenue for the state.
Yeah, sure.
I dated a girl whose brother was a cop, and he had this really, shiny, polished up. He like buffed his car every couple of weeks or something. He was really into his car. He had a very nice car, and he put his thin blue line sticker in the back, and he had a thin blue line license plate. So in Massachusetts, if you have a red and white plate, you're supposed to have 2 license plates. Unless you're a cop, then you can run a vanity plate up front. So you put a thin blue line vanity plate because nobody, the cops don't give other cops tickets for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he took them off because his car was just getting keyed constantly. Every time he was like in some parking lot.
I'm not saying
he
that's a
was
good
just
idea.
getting
Don't do
keyed.
that. But
And other guys, in the police department are like, oh yeah, you can't be running flashing all that stuff like that and parking your cars places because they're like, yep, cars get keyed.
It's gang
for
sign.
that. Yeah,
It's gang symbol.
a terrorist symbol.
Yeah.
Terrorism.
Another the accomplice to the police in stealing people's property, like here locally in Keene, you have Emerson Towing.
Sure.
So there was a video. This was when I was in Colorado. I watched this video, so like probably 2013 or 14, and I forget the fella's name. You might know who he is as soon as I tell you about this. But a guy was an Emerson towing truck was hooking up to a car, and a guy's like videoing it. And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I think this was put on Free Keene, either Facebook feed. I saw it on Facebook, and
this was one of the Robin Hooders. I think
it was, yes, Robin Hooder. And he's like, what are you doing? Why are you taking this car? And he's like, and the tow truck guy gets like this little like billy club stick thing out and like aggressively walks up to the guy filming and basically says how he's going to beat him. And then a cop shows up a few minutes later and he's like, hey, this guy just threatened to beat me and I got it on film. What are you going to do about it?
Nothing.
And the cop's just like, he's kind of a fat, chubby cop. So I kind of was in between like some work, or we had a few days off and I was watching this, so I sent an email to Emerson Towing's insurance company.
Ooh.
And I called Emerson Towing and I asked them for their insurance stuff, and they're like, why do you want it? And I'm like, so I just watched a YouTube video where one of your drivers threatened to beat some guy who was just videotaping him hooking up to a car, towing the car, and they hung up the phone on me. The people, so I just called the Secretary of State's office, and they sent me. After several phone calls, it was a pain in the butt. I got the policy number of their indemnification bond, so I actually sent the company an email. I said, "Do you indemnify employees of Emerson Towing against violent behavior?" Here's the link to the video, so I sent them the link, and then I did get a response back. Wow, that's kind of scary that we insure, basically what the lady had said. I'm going to look into this. I never really went, but if that insurance company got like an official complaint against like this guy is threatening, and like a lot of people did, this is one way to sort of fix them, is hit them when their bond is. And because
they're either going to fire that guy,
because these towing companies that work for the cops, they're all major parasites, just right with the government.
Unfortunately, it's like all of them. As I understand it, they put them in a rotation around here. So they call
it's
one,
a bidded
they call the
thing.
next.
Yeah.
There's more coming up here. You can join the show. The number 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. You can bring up whatever is on your mind here on Free Talk Live. We got more coming up. The same caller called back.
Well, you can't keep doing that.
Oh, he just dropped off the line.
Good. Guys, one more caller. Next caller wins gold. They don't know how much gold, but I mean, it's
Real
a significant
gold?
amount.
It'll probably get you a dozen eggs.
It'll get you a dozen eggs, but it's cool. It's cool to get this, guys. You should call in, stay on the line after you're done talking, and I will get your address and I'll send you some gold. Satoshi called in, Jack called in, and a couple other people called in. You all need to call in and win some gold. Come on, guys. Shouldn't have to bribe you. You should just be calling in anyways. It's ridiculous.
You could also do it differently, like best caller.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, maybe next time I do this, guys, Ian gave me a great idea. The best caller, the best topic to call in with will win. But right now, I already made
the end of the show.
Yeah, I'll choose at the end of the show who I think are the best callers. That way, trolls, no trolls. That doesn't count.
How about a 50 goal back? That'll
Oof.
I don't know.
Don't do that.
I don't know what those cost, but
Yes, you do. You do.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
$200.
okay. It's because it's a 50 is 1/50th of an ounce. No.
1/20th.
Oh, 1/20th. Oh, okay.
A 50 is 50 singles.
Just yeah.
Oh, 50.
Think of it like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically like $400.
No,
Yeah.
200.
No, $200.
50 is how many?
5 times 4 is 20, so add a 0. 200. 400,
yes.
you're probably closer to the full set.
Oh, okay.
That'd be cool though if they made a 100 denominator.
It would be
Probably
too
don't
big.
really have to. Yeah, how you gonna break that?
I mean, the 50s are thick.
The 50 is already a
So-
$400 bill.
200.
Or $200 bill. I'm sorry. Yeah. 100 would be 400.
50s won't fit in my wallet. Like
Oh.
my foldable wallet that
Right,
goes in my
right,
pocket, it sticks
Right.
out, so I can't put them in there. So 100 would be like too thick, too large. Wouldn't be good.
It'd be thick like that girl who
And no one
assaulted
ever
me.
uses 50s anyway, unless you're buying something huge.
It's true,
So, like,
yeah.
I just don't need-
It seems it's kind of impractical.
Well, don't worry. The 50 will be worth $400 or $500 pretty soon.
Right. And you could cut it in half if you wanted to. Then you have 25. Could you imagine someone doing that?
The Organite guy, all the gold back that sold him, he's cutting them up and putting them in Organite.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Well, it's the cheapest way to get gold in your,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy the gold leaf stuff.
Not really.
What?
Not and it's and even then, like, he wants to, like, because you can cut it in strips, you can swirl it around.
Oh yeah.
Because he likes to use wire, but gold wire is really expensive. It's
Yeah.
like triple spot.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah. Unless you're gonna buy 100 ounces of it, but you're not gonna do that.
Jack wants 50 pounds of taters. I can't do that.
Well, if he's in New Hampshire, he can spend that gold back on beef.
Yeah.
Spend the gold on beef.
Yeah, Satoshi, I know that. One Satoshi is 100 million of BTC.
All right, 10 seconds.
Guys, call in. Next caller
Last
wins. Last chance. You got 30 minutes, less than that. God damn it, people.
It is Free Talk Live. You can join the show here and bring up whatever you want. We got time for you right now. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Ian J. and Joa here in the studio tonight. You can join us online anytime you want. Just go to freetalklive.com and you can enjoy the various features we have on there. So the big story, I think, today is this threat that they're calling decentralized finance. The national, what do they call it? The Treasury Department. They're saying that DeFi, decentralized finance, is a threat against national security. This is according to the Wall Street Journal story here. They're saying that it needs greater oversight and enforcement against money laundering. The warning in a new Treasury report assessing the risk of the so-called DeFi markets lays the foundation for tougher regulations and punitive action by federal agencies. DeFi platforms enable crypto investors to transact with each other through software running online without a central intermediary overseeing transactions. So, I'll give you an example. One classic example of decentralized finance when it comes to cryptocurrency, because you would say, well, aren't all cryptocurrencies decentralized? What is the difference between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you name the crypto, and decentralized finance? Decentralized finance isn't just the cryptocurrencies. It's a way of utilizing those cryptocurrencies to create services that compete with what you might call centralized finance. So an example of centralized finance is you go to the bank, you tell them you want to get a loan to buy something, right? Start a business or buy a car or a house or something like that. And of course, they got to know who you are. They got to know where you work. They got to see, your job receipts. They got to see all kinds of hoop jumping on your part before they'll decide whether or not to issue the loan.
And you got to swear that you're a United States citizen under oath.
Sure, all kinds of
Generally.
invasive stuff that they want to do to you to give you their centralized finance services. Decentralized finance, on the other hand, there's no place to go. There's no office to sit in. There's no bureaucrat or bank employee to sit in front of. But you can get a loan It's just it's a collateralized loan when it comes to DeFi, at least the ones that I'm aware of. So what you can do is if you have, let's say you have some Bitcoin and you like the Bitcoin, you don't really want to sell the Bitcoin, but you need some dollars to do something. Maybe
Sure.
maybe it's again buying a car or something like that. So instead of selling the Bitcoin and turning it into dollars, which some would say is a taxable event, some people want to get a loan that the Bitcoin is a sort of backing that loan as collateral. And decentralized finance allows that to happen without any intermediary,
Right.
without any third party that you have to sit in front of and show ID to and beg for permission. It's a contract. It's just what they call a smart contract.
Right.
So essentially, you send in the crypto that you have, they send this other form back to you. In the case of stable coins, for instance, dollar-backed stable coins. This is the most traditional example, I think, of DeFi that you can, or one of the most traditional examples, where you've never had to show them who you are. You didn't have to provide ID. You didn't have to do anything except put the collateral up, and then the contract.
That's all
spits
your
it.
That's all the credential they care about is a
You
collateral.
got what they asked for. Yeah.
Right.
And so then the contract spits up the thing that you're putting the collateral down for. If the price of the collateral goes in a certain direction, like if it drops too far, then they can liquidate the collateral and you essentially lose it at that point. So there are some risks, right? There's definitely
Sure.
risks to this. But that's one example of DeFi. Another one would be decentralized exchanges. So we know about centralized exchanges. We talk about those fairly often,
So
like Coinbase.
let's make this a little bit more understandable for those people that are listening. This is you're essentially using crypto to get a loan
You're using that's one application. Another one would be a decentralized finance
without anybody
exchange.
knowing who's doing it.
Correct.
And that might be complicated to some people listening, but they actually have written it into the code. Is that
Yes.
correct?
And unless you are a programmer, if you're a programmer, you could verify the code, right? Like you
Sure,
can actually
sure.
go through
I'm
it
just
and
going to
check
trust
it.
people that, in reviews and that sort of thing.
But yeah, otherwise you got to trust the people that have looked at it.
Okay.
Right? And there are risks, right? Because there's a risk of there's a bug in the code and somebody can exploit that in some way, shape, or form. And we've seen some of these DeFi platforms get
Sure.
ripped off by very talented programmers who found the bugs and exploited it and
Yep.
walked away with $60 million worth of crypto or whatever.
Wow.
So there's definitely some protocol level risks when you're doing this.
Yeah.
But there are also some of these platforms that have been around for years now, and they've had no issues or
Pretty
minor
solid.
issues, or they fixed the issues that they've had, and they've got bug bounties and
Yeah.
things to try to identify potential problems that come up. So another example would be a decentralized exchange. So we know that centralized exchanges, they always want to know who you are.
Yep.
They want to know where you're from. They want to see your ID. They want to see your passport. They want to have you connect a bank account. There's all these identifying things that go on. They have a record of everything that you buy. With a decentralized exchange, you just show up, you create a wallet, fund the wallet with your cryptocurrency, and you exchange whatever you want. You walk away, and there's no one who can tell you no.
So this gives poor people a lot more flexibility, a lot more power in financial markets, because rich people do this all the time. Rich people buy, real estate, airplanes, all kinds of financial instruments that they own, and then they collateralize those instruments and get loans,
Mhm.
and then they use these loans to fund things, buy toys, do whatever. And because they're basically not earning any money, they're just borrowing money, and they have and they get an excellent rate because everything's collateralized. So this is how all the wealthy people are preserving wealth and keeping wealth and amassing more wealth. This is one of the, not the only way, but one of the things that they use. And this decentralized finance through cryptocurrencies gives this ability to
anyone,
everybody.
To anyone. And that's another reason why they hate it.
Well,
Yeah.
they hate it because now we have options. We don't have to do this in fiat. And
You used to have to be rich to do things like investing.
correct.
So that's
Get
another
approved
example.
investor. You don't
Right.
have to be an approved investor.
Right. Accredited investor, which means you have to have
right.
$1 million at least, or $2 million, or something like that. And now anybody with $20
Mhm.
can get some crypto tokens in some project. Whether or not it takes off or not, who knows? But the thing
Right.
is, you don't have to ask anyone's permission. So that's another example of decentralized finance. Somebody can have this idea.
I can do it.
What?
Yeah, anyone. Yeah.
When did this news come out?
Oh, today,
Like what time?
10:30.
10:30 a.m.
This morning.
Okay. Very interesting because, yesterday which is a ARRR, aka
Pirate.
coin pirate chain. That just blew up yesterday.
Blew up as in the price
It went up
went
27%.
That's good news.
Yeah.
So a little more here from the story to give you a feeling of what they're trying to do. Without the intermediaries of traditional finance, such as banks, regulators currently have little insight into DeFi transactions. And then ransomware hackers, rogue states, and other national security threats have seized upon the market's opaqueness to move money around the world without detection, facilitating the financing critical to their operations, claims the Treasury Department. Quote, illicit actors, including criminals, scammers, and North Korean cyber actors, are using DeFi services in the process of laundering illicit funds, said the Treasury Secretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, Brian Nelson.
Cat called the kettle black there.
Nelson further said, quote, capturing the potential benefits associated with DeFi services requires addressing these risks. The report sketches out how the Treasury Department plans to bring the market under greater federal oversight, suggesting that platforms that fail to establish sufficient vetting policies risk enforcement action. And just 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was in the news that the SEC is suing one of the decentralized markets or exchanges, which is called SushiSwap.
Well, this doesn't make any sense. So, how could the government be a complaining party? So they're going to have to present victims in this case?
No, they don't
No.
have to do that.
They'll just say you didn't follow our regulations.
Your regulations don't apply.
Well, they're going to try to force them to apply, which is what they did in the library case, and it's what they did in the Crypto 6 case, and it's what they're doing in the Coinbase case, and what they're going to do in the Binance case.
You know
So
what this
they're gonna
reminds
keep
me
doing
of?
this.
It reminds me of when they bought Manhattan with wampum. It sounds like they're just going to choke it all out. They're just going
That's
to
what they're
take
gonna
everything, which is a simple
They're
swipe.
going to try to target these guys. Now, the trick is decentralized finance, if it's done correctly, is untargetable because the people who are participating are anonymous. The websites or the tools that are being used are, if they can take down the website, another one could pop up.
Oh, easily.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
yeah.
So a website is a central point of failure, but if it's a protocol, like library,
Right.
for instance,
Right.
library is a protocol, and the
Still
difference
works.
between a platform and a protocol is a platform is a centralized thing that uses a protocol. So, HTTP, which you see on every website URL,
Right.
stands for Hypertext Transfer
Protocol.
something protocol, and so HTTP can never go away. It's just a set of code that websites use to transmit their
director.
information to your screen.
It directs you to a certain area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can take down a website, but you can't take down HTTP. That's a protocol. It's never going to go
Right,
away. Same
right.
thing's true with library, LBRY, which we've talked a lot about there. Protocol, but they also have a platform called Odyssey. Joe, you've got a channel on Odyssey. It's
Yes.
Breaking the Flaw. We've got a channel there as well. It's called Free Talk Live.
I got to check up on it. It has been syncing.
You go to video.freetalklive.com, it'll take you right to it. Can they take down Odyssey? Yes, they can. It's a centralized website. They have servers somewhere in the world, and they can find those servers, and they can target the company that runs the servers, and they can take that site down. But they cannot terminate Library, the protocol, because that's running on thousands of computers or whatever all around the planet, and it's open source, so it's been copied a million times or whatever, and there's not one specific location to target.
Kind of like Bitcoin.
So they're going to have a difficult time going after decentralized finance, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try. And that's what they did with SushiSwap a few weeks ago, which is a quote-unquote DeFi, decentralized exchange platform. But the problem is, at some point, apparently the SushiSwap, they have a DAO, which is called a Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Somehow they formed some kind of corporation or something to, I don't know, get a bank account or get a lawyer or something. They had, I don't know the whole history of it, but they did a little bit of centralization. And so some people's names got on a record somewhere. Guess what? Federal government found that, and they went after those guys.
Boom. Yeah.
So they're targeting their sushi DAO, but they're also naming specific individuals. So the takeaway from this is, first of all, it's a bunch of BS. The idea that DeFi is some sort of terrorist target is just absolute nonsense. The terrorists use dollars. Okay, terrorists use government money primarily. That's what they do. So that is all just total nonsense. But that's what they're going to trot out. That's what they're going to say if they ever get people into court. And that's what they're going to get to convince these judges to rule against the decentralized finance people. So if you're involved in decentralized finance and you're not anonymous, you better look out, because they are going to be looking for you. They're gunning for you. If you are a programmer of some DeFi protocol, they're going to try to find you and bring you in front of some court, whether it's going to be criminal charges or civil charges, them saying that it is a threat to national security. Aaron Day posted about this. He's the one who gave me a heads up on this story. He sent me a direct message. Aaron Day pointed out, look, this is code for them saying we're going to do some crazy police state tyranny stuff against these guys. They're using national security as their excuse. They take that very seriously.
So it probably is actually a threat to national security, because what is national security?
It's the security of the state.
You're right. So it's the war machine.
Mm-hmm.
Smedley Butler, you guys should look into him. There's some great stuff about him. He was a Marine, and he spoke out.
War is a racket.
Yeah, war is a racket. Spoke out against war very much, and he literally, says that war is the lifeblood of the state. So the only reason war can happen is because of fiat dollars, because of fractional reserve banking. You couldn't have $11 billion aircraft carriers, multiple of these aircraft carriers, and this, nuclear powered submarines and just all this stuff, and like 35, million or $1 billion F-35s or 34s that don't even really work right. You couldn't have all of this without the creation of money out of thin air.
Correct.
So when there is a technology like cryptocurrency that provides people an option to not support the war machine. That's always been my, Bitcoin, not bombs.
Yep.
Yeah, that is something I've been talking about for years. So it now people like, because another thing you can do with decentralized finance is you can park your crypto there, and you can receive a pretty generous annual percentage rate.
In some cases.
And you can lose it. But anyways, I know a lot of people who have just parked a crypto in these, realistic, 1.25 or 3.45, but there's even
it's bigger than a bank. That's for sure.
Well, and there's ones that are a little risky. They're like 20%, annual, and some people have made out on those and lost on those. But just the fact that you can basically choose where to put your digital ones and twos, your mathematical equation, essentially, is definitely a threat to the national security of the war machine,
right? And the bankers.
The reality is that government hates competition.
They sure do,
and that's why they're doing it. They're like, no, that's our job, and they don't want.
We handle the money, not you, little programmer people,
right.
Internet dorks.
We're the ones that decide the value of that dollar.
And I see all these things as good news. All this coming out against
it's desperate.
Because it just shows how bad the war machine is.
Mm-hmm.
Just like within the public schools, they're trying to promote this, inclusivity and diversity stuff as something that should be normalized. They're trying to normalize pedophilia, the World Economic Forum, a whole bunch of the Democrats on the left, the radical Democrats. And it's just exposing their system. And the fact that, like, kids don't want to work anymore is because schools have been just basically destroying the kids with all the gender nonsense, the sexual nonsense, the critical race theory, the Common Core garbage math, just all these things that are useless and not necessary are being pushed on the kids, and like a lot of these people who are confused about that stuff have no idea about decentralized finance things or anything outside the norm, and they're just going to be slaves to a banking system, slaves to all this stuff, and this is the way they want it, and the harder they push back on it, the more pushback is going to happen on the freedom side. The more pushback is going to push more black markets. I think we're going to see a really excellent black market economy.
They're just going to strengthen
it.
They're going to strengthen it up by doing this. It's going to going to all these foreign countries and killing the terrorists or whatever. It's just going to put 10 more terrorists in place. And I say that lightly because I don't think the people that they've been killing for years in these foreign countries actually were terrorists. I think they were just people trying to defend their homeland and their families. And when you kill a family member, you're going to see 10 of their family members rise up to the occasion, regardless of the religion or aspects around it. Like, that's literally what happens every time.
I
But
don't like seeing anyone in the cryptocurrency world being targeted by the federal government, but I think that this is going to happen. We're seeing it's already happening in the case of the SEC, going after various different organizations, going after Sushi Swap, etc. So they're going to expand that. They're going to keep going after these groups. And what it's really going to do is it's going to prove who the truly decentralized ones are, because there's a lot of quote-unquote DeFi.
Right.
And you don't really know, because again, you might not be a programmer or whatever. You can't audit what their code is.
Right.
So you're just kind of like, oh, that sounds cool. All right, we'll try this out, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But if the federal government comes in and manages to take these DeFi sites or these DeFi systems down, then that's proof that they weren't decentralized enough.
Right.
That
That's
they
a good
had
point.
too
Good
many
point.
centralized points. So I think we're going to see the federal government is ultimately going to clear out the wheat from the chaff, so to speak.
Sure.
They're going to give us the best decentralized finance, the most anonymous decentralized finance protocols are the ones that are going to survive this.
There's clearly like a vulnerability there. And I was going to say, I support the DeFi. I don't know if it's illegal to even say that.
Not yet.
But it could be.
Yeah.
But I mean, I support not so much the DeFi that's in place now, because it is like vulnerable, and there's some avenue where they can get the government get their hands in the pot. But I support the next system that's tighter. How about that? I support the next.
This is going to spur that development as well. Like the people are going to learn the hard lessons. They're going to say, "Oh crap, we made a
Don't get me
mistake
wrong.
here."
I don't really know how it works, so don't like. I'm supporting the theory here because I don't really know.
Another layer with this whole DeFi thing is the fact that, so in America, a whole bunch of people are pulling their money out of the banks, but a lot of people are moving their like millions of dollars to separate different banks to try to get the FDIC insurance coverage, keep each account under $250,000, which I think is very laughable.
Yeah.
People are moving. Oh, I'm going to get it out of my local little bank and put it in a big bank like J.P. Morgan, which I think is also another terrible thing. But also, people one probably sort of easy way, I'm not sure now, but how easy it is if you can move your dollars out of dollars and into some kind of cryptocurrency, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing there. And I just read an article, $90 million was moved out of U.S. banks, like in the past week, like the biggest in history, and that can't be all in cash.
90 billion, I think, not million.
Maybe billion, whatever it said.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but that ain't happening in in cash money. A lot of that's happening in a digital transaction and digitally moving it over to some kind of cryptocurrency. And then on top of this, you have a whole bunch of countries now that are breaking away from the dollar. They're buying oil directly from Russia. They're doing deals directly with China. Whole bunch of BRICS nations you guys have been talking about. This has been all over the place. So like anybody who's got like a lot of US dollars is probably a little bit scared if they are paying attention to what's going on and wants to get it into something like gold, silver, crypto, even like all the physical gold stores that I'm aware of, like the local silver mint, they've just been slammed with business.
Oh, you dropped it. Local silver mint.
Was that not supposed to say
no,
that?
No.
Okay.
I told him I was going to drop the name tonight. You did it for me.
Nice.
But yeah, he's got great deals in silver. He's cheaper than a lot of the online
Actually, he's
buyers.
the cheapest in New England.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, it's cheapest store. Yeah.
I know when I was in the Goldback store a couple of weeks ago, I'd gone down there to do a report. I was recording an interview with the proprietor there, Adam Van, longtime Free Talk Live listener, by the way. He opened up Alpine Gold. It's the first store that the Goldback people have had outside of Utah. So it's their first East Coast operation. Anything east of Utah, they're basically sending all their phone calls into this Manchester location. While I was there, the phone just kept ringing. He told me they had, 200-something calls, I think, on like a Monday a couple weeks ago. Like right after Silicon Valley Bank had failed. They had 600 calls, but they couldn't get to them all. So they had like 200 calls that they took, and then another 400 that they couldn't actually take because they didn't have the staff. It's
amazing, like local silver mint, that they were banging too. Like there were just a lot of people coming in and just buying their silver and gold. I think local silver mint is sold out of gold right now, other than small fractionals, which is a high premium. So,
and a lot of people are going to these physicals, gold and silver stores. And every week after they cash their paycheck, they're like, oh, I got $50 extra, I got $100 extra. I'm just going to go keep on stacking. And because people are with the internet and with the availability of information. There's no reason why anybody does not understand that the Federal Reserve is a total scam and a fraud, and the whole fiat system is an enslavement mechanism. And this is why the beast is lashing out so hard. This is why they want to, and they call it a matter of national security, because this is how they have their power. They have the exclusive monopoly on the control of money and dollars, and they force you with the barrels of guns to pay taxes in these particular fiat currencies. And they make examples out of people who go around fiat currencies by putting them in prison for life for not committing any crimes. Ross Ulbricht, the Crypto 6 guys. I'm
facing up to life sentence in my case.
Yes, and not a single man or woman signed an affidavit saying you took anything from them.
And you still don't have to KYC to buy silver. So as long as if you spend less than $10,000, you don't have to KYC. So there's still that option there.
Yeah, and we have been covering over the last several weeks a lot of this news about the dollar being rejected in international trade. It was the big news of the last couple of weeks is Brazil and China are now going to be doing trade directly with each other's fiat currencies rather than using the dollar, which is what they were using. And Brazil is, I think I just heard this today, they're the second largest economy in like this particular part of the planet, right?
A ton of beef and pork comes out of Brazil
After the US.
America.
Do you know I met the owner of the biggest beef production? I met him in Cape Cod. I gave him an Uber ride. I don't remember his name or anything like that, but he showed me. He showed me like, here, take a look, and I was like, no way.
You never know who you're gonna run into.
And he's
I know.
Brazilian guy.
Brazilian, yeah.
Out of time for tonight. Check out Joa. He's over at Breaking the Flaw on YouTube and Odyssey. Jay Noon is raising money for Man Camp at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which tickets are still available for, I hear, but they're getting closer to a sellout. So if you want to help Jay with that, go to jaynoon.com. That's JAYNOONE.com, and you can donate in a decentralized finance manner to his website by contributing in cryptocurrency. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Thanks, dudes. It was kind of fun.
By the way, the guy I left on hold was David in New Mexico, so it wasn't one of your guys.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't want to give it to the troll. I did say my fifth supporter of my channel.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of did say that at one point, so I kind of made up the rules as I went, and I'm just not going to give a loser one that wants to accuse me of doing something stupid. No, buddy.
You just gave him a ton of ammo to be like, oh, the fifth caller, blah, blah, blah. You know?
Yeah, bootlicker.
Then you'd have his address.
It's true. I would have his address. I don't think he would have given it up anyways, though.
Not that it'd do you any good.
If you really want it, I got the phone number.
Oh, yeah? You got the number?
Yeah.
I can just say it on my stream. I won't do that. You got his name?
There's no name associated with it.
No name? I know that guy. No name.
Something from Ossipee, New Hampshire.
Us? Oh, really? Wow. So he was like a local hater.
Sounds
Cool. Yep. Hey, guys. Next time, fifth caller. Maybe I'll lower it down. Or actually, best call. You guys get the best topic next week. I'll give away that goal.
Better. You're gonna get better calls.
I get to choose it, who I want, and yeah. I mean, trolls, go ahead, call in. I don't care.
And if it's only one call, then they get the best one.
Yeah, if only one person calls in, you get it. How's that? It's perfect. Then they all can compete for that.
So
bring up a better topic.
Contact information for everybody.
Well, just to identify their. I guess they could identify their username or something like that.
Or you could email me your phone number, and then we can match it up to the one that called in.
It's an option, unless it's anonymous, in which case we wouldn't be able to.
Anonymous is not going to work anyway, so yeah.
The first guy was an anonymous call. The first guy that calls.
Still counted. If the first 4 people called in or something like that, I would have been like, all right, whatever.
We'll figure it out.
All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream because the show is over. Thank you all for watching. Peace out. We got Jay here, too. Thank you, guys. Peace out. Hit that like and call in the Free Talk Live every day and talk about abusive cops or not sports. Okay, thanks, guys.